they're not unbelievably brave, say, they don't come charging around in the daytime. They're not reckless. That's right, reckless.
It's just within certain behaviors and with certain prey animals at the optimum times for hunting. I mean, it makes perfect sense, really.
Yeah. And so the description, interesting, the descriptions of these T-Rex like animals surviving today is that as you would expect from a predator, predators only need to feed occasionally because they're feeding on wonderful high protein foods. But then they've got to spend the time digesting the food. And as we know with lions and tigers, if you read about them, watch them in documentaries, they'll say, they spend 20 hours a day sleeping because all animals conserve energy. We don't need to conserve energy because we've got our technology, but normally you do not run around wasting energy if food is fairly hard to come by. And so a predator, say a lion or a tiger, they spend most of their time resting, and then they go out hunting, and they usually hunt at night because there's less chance of their prey avoiding them. And of course, they're very careful that they sneak around. They're all ambush predators, and so the reports that the Gilroys have picked up on this surviving T-Rex-like animal is that it sleeps during the day, and in remote canyons in remote country, and it's relatively inactive. And then it comes out at night, and then it slowly stalks around, hiding in vegetation because it doesn't. If you're an ambush predator, you've got to be as cryptic as possible. You don't move her out in the open so that your potential prey species will see you. So they spend all of their time hiding. And if you go to, say, you went to India or Southeast Asia and you wanted to see a tiger, well, they're not just walking around like they're in the zoo or something. They're almost impossible to see. Because they're not worried so much about being seen by people. Their main concern is not being seen by the animals that they wish to hunt. So they just lie in wait. And so this is the reports that have been received of this T-Rex-like animal, that they just stand quietly in thickets of trees watching, and then if they really do exist, they would have been feeding on kangaroos and emus and previously the megafauna, and they make a sudden dash out when they see something that's liable to be able to be caught. They can't run very far because they, just like a lion, tiger, a cheetah or anything, they use up a lot of energy, and so they only run a short distance. So they'll wait till some prey species wanders close enough feeding, and then they'll break from their cover and grab the animal and take it back and feed on it, and of course that's as much as they move. They're relatively inactive, just like any predatory animal.
I suppose out there in their environment as well, there'd be plenty of kangaroos, plenty of camels, wild camels too, probably. Emus,
yes, exactly.
Other things like that, large prey that could satiate a big predator like that.
The encounter reports are always of them hearing them snorting and hearing their heavy footsteps, and so Rex and Heather have collected, as I said, about 36 reports. And so one of the most spectacular reports, and you got to imagine what Australia's like. It's about the size of Europe, or say mainland United States. But we've got about 28 million people, all of which are concentrated in 4 or 5 cities on the coast. And so you can imagine Europe or North America with one road around the, it's an island continent, so one road around the coast, and then one road that runs north-south through the centre through Alice Springs,
Wow.
and then a couple of roads that run east-west, and most of those roads you need a 4-wheel drive vehicle because they're
and plenty of supplies and provisions just in case as well, I would imagine.
Yes, and then of course it's covered in roads just like any other place in the areas that have been settled by British and European settlers and established farms and cities, and so the whole of eastern Australia, particularly southeastern Australia, is covered in roads and farms. But we have fabulous mountain ranges, and our mountain ranges, they're not like the mountains in Eurasia or North America, for instance, because the Australian continent is so ancient. We have these uplifted plateau mountains, particularly sandstone mountains around the Sydney area, particularly spectacular and rugged, and they have sheer escarpments or cliffs, hundreds of meters or hundreds of feet, and so they're very rugged. Like you can hardly, they look very much like the Grand Canyon, except covered in forest, and there's those areas that you get reports of animals that aren't supposed to exist, and but the majority of these reports come from, as I said, Central Australia and Northern Australia and Western Australia, and so one of my favourite reports that they picked up, it took place near Cooper Pedy, which is well known for people that are interested in opals, because one of the most wonderful opal hunting areas, and most of the town is underground because it's very hot and dry, and so this particular story, it took place with a retired couple opal hunting, searching along creek beds and what have you out in the desert, and they were camped one night with their dog Toby by the campfire and enjoying a beautiful night, and the dog began to growl at something, and it was a full moon night, and the dog headed off into the scrub. So it's sort of like small trees. There might be the highest trees might be 15 or 20 feet high, or lower, and large numbers of shrubs and grasses and the plants usually separated by just sort of bare sandy soil, and so it was lovely full moon, and the dog started growling and then went off into the scrub, and then some minutes later, it suddenly came running back and ran past them and went in under the car, under the car, and so the husband thought, well, what on earth scared the dog? Because they know everything that lives out in the desert. Their mate might be feral camels. When camels were introduced, we used to have Afghan camel trains carrying transport 100 years ago through the deserts in Australia, and now the place is full of camels. Or there could be wild goats, feral goats, or kangaroos or emus, or wild pigs. Pigs were introduced. So, but nothing that is really aggressive or would frighten a dog. And so the husband decided, well, he'll go and have a look and see what scared the dog. So he heads off into the bush. In the full moon, he can see well, and he walks I'm not quite sure how far, maybe 300 or 400 feet or whatever, wondering what on earth frightened the dog so badly. And so then he suddenly realizes that there's a large dark shape directly in front of him, maybe 20, 30, 40 feet in front of him or whatever. And so he walks up to it because he thinks it can only be a camel or something. And